It's an IDOT thing.
I know, it doesn't.
They run the surface.
It just looks more like something that's stuck to me, but
It kind of does. It also looks like a car logo, some sort of dealership.
Ours, or just filling in your patches.
Futuristic.
Before I left, going around, and nobody kind of knew what was going on.
Dries off.
Yeah, I know.
Can you hear us?
I can.
Yes. Okay, excellent. Just making sure.
It's in what City Hall. Let's get back.
Yeah. Next day, the day after.
Yeah.
Several days.
And that's something that had rain all summer.
Okay, we have a quorum.
We do? Good.
We do.
All right. 10:31, and let's go.
Mark, you can do that.
You want me to record? Oh,
No, that's okay. Just a little bit, just a jar.
you want me to record?
Yes, please.
All right, good morning, everyone.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right. September 22nd, Transportation Technical Committee, 10:31, we starting the meeting. We do have a quorum, and I guess we will go to item number 3 for public comment. And I don't
We have
see.
had no requests for public comment, nor does anyone seem to be present to offer.
Okay, great. Then moving on to item number 4 for approval of minutes from the August 18th meeting. So you all have seen the draft minutes in your packets. So any questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved. Approval. Second. Question, comments, questions, anybody? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a vote. And for approval of the last meeting's minutes, all who are in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose? Seeing none, so items approved. And then moving on to item number 5. And this is for the amendment to the tip, amendment number 5 to the current tip. So Jim, want to say anything? And I'll also defer to the town. Yeah, the town. But I don't know if you have anything to add before.
I just have one question for Ryan before you leap into the details. Under funding detail in the two. We've got STU in this one. You identify some of the funding as federal directed spending. That's a congressional earmark.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, if you don't mind, Brian, just
Sure.
go background.
Yeah, so this is an amendment essentially, updating the total project cost. Shocker, going up. Also updated the tip to include the federally directed spending. Town got a $3.5 million earmark for the West College project. STU and COVID remain the same, but the other increases were from a IDOT EDP grant, Economic Development Program grant, working with Rivian to add essentially 2 signals, one at gate 4 and one at gate 5, and modify all the roadway to accommodate their new south parking lot that will bring a lot more traffic to West College Avenue than we anticipated with the original design. So IDOT's participating in that way. There is a local match. So the normal MFT amount was updated to include the EDP match, but some additional funding to accommodate for general increases in cost. The other thing it does is it splits the project into 2 phases. The first phase, another big shocker, we're having delays with Norfolk Southern Railroad getting the crossing deployed and the hearing scheduled, which I think we're closer today than we sat even a week ago. But we're going to split that out so we can get the balance of the project built next year. And And that's pretty much it.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for Ryan? Anybody? Okay. I'll entertain a motion for this item. Okay, Jan, in second. Second, Jerry. Questions, comments? Seeing none, those who are in favor of this motion for approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, it's approved. Moving on to item number 6 is the annual report that you be much familiar with. But so Jan, could you give an update on this one, please?
Sure. As you all know, every year we fulfill a congressional demand that we report on federal investment in the area in the previous fiscal year. This year, the range was a little bit longer. I think some earlier projects that sort of carried over, but the original date was back in 2021, I think. It looks like this, more or less. It's about 25 pages. I realized the pagination was screwed up, so I fixed that. And it's just a very quick summary of how the transportation planning process works. This hasn't changed in years. And some definitions. There's a section for transit investment. I'm in touch with Connect on that, so we'll have that squared away by next week. And then the rest of it is starting with the projects that were funded or obligated in the MPO, of which there are 8. So there's an overall map that shows those. And then the data from that we got from Federal Highway for these, plus a map showing the location. You'll note later on that there are a handful of projects that don't have a mappable location. They're either in multiple places, not defined for us, or they're just, that's kind of there's no specific place. So M1 through M8 are the metropolitan area projects. That includes us, Lake County Regional Planning. So M4 has our nice little symbol right in the middle of town there. Figuring, hey, if we're doing maps, we might as well do it up all the way. And then beyond those, moving on to page 11, I guess. No, page 13. Yeah, so this is the map of the county altogether. And there are 12 projects out in the county that fall into this list. And once again, the statistics coming out of the FHWA information, I may actually get back to you guys about some of these locations, and maybe you can pass me to Brian or someone as to where these didn't always have a description we could use. So those make their way through and all the way through those, and it's pretty much the same as we've always done. I want to make a point of thanking our assistant planner, Francesca Lewis, who did all the mapping this year. And we've already had plaudits for that. So when Francesca gets back, we'll be sure to pass that along. And other than that, that's all there is to it. Betsy said she'd look through it quickly, and together she's on vacation perhaps. And so absent any changes in the next week, and we'll take this to policy. Just a reminder, we do not approve this because it's not our information. This is data that we get from the feds. And so we sort of dress it up, and we will do a press release, and we'll post it and do all these usual things. But it's not our product in a very good sense.
So it's basically informational item when we do this every year. Questions, comments, thoughts?
The only thing I want to do is find a bridge symbol for the X.
Yeah, the X does have a slightly, sinister feel.
Yes, we would probably have something. I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure if we dig down, there's
That's why I was asking what program she was using, because if we had something that we could somehow manage to get shared.
I have no idea.
Sure.
I mean, I've lost track of how many different versions of JS we're using.
Yep.
So we'll look into that.
X's work.
Yeah, as long as it's clear on the left.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be an issue.
Yep.
Good. Anyone else? Yeah. All right. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 7, that which may arise. Welcome back, Dave.
Yes.
Glad to be back.
Anyone has any items?
Question on the raise grant for Veterans Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
Council passed the $100,000 town match. I know we did city also passed that.
Yep.
Is that going to be an invoice from IDOT? Is that how that will come about?
Yeah, I spoke. I saw your city managers. That will be as depending on each jurisdiction, just to bring everybody up to speed. And Bob, feel free to add too. So for the raise grant, plus all the local contributions, commitments when we applied and subsequently got the award. So we got commitment from IDOT, town, city, county, Connect, and Transit, and us. So it's a little complicated, but according to the federal agreement, the grant agreement, so IDOT is the recipient, and MCRPC, although we applied, is as what they call the first tier subrecipient. And so we've been working closely with IDOT. So IDOT has the bulk of the contribution to the local, and we appreciate it, IDOT and everybody else too. And so the way that IDOT preferred to do after talking with IDOT and also the budget and finance folks, that all the local partners will have the money give upfront the total amount of the committed local match upfront. So IDOT will collect those, and they'll be easier to when there's like invoices, they'll handle all this money because they're the recipient. And then it helps rather than doing the monthly invoices, when the project kicks off. So there's advantages of doing that. So we've been getting, and from IDOT's perspectives, they would like that official commitment. Therefore, the city and the town councils to go through this process. So the most recent meetings, council meetings, they approve the $100,000 each. And then county also already committed, and I spoke with the general manager of Connect, they committed. So it's just a matter of processing. And to answer your question, yes, the town, I've contacted the IDOT folks, they will be invoicing the town, to answer your question. Yeah, I know it's a little complicated process, and I just trying to work with IDOT and Bob and just see what's the most efficient way. One of the reasons that we also want to make sure the FHWA is okay, because they want to make sure the local commitments is there, and so before they can obligate the fund. And so all this little complicated process, but I think I'm glad to see. I think we seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's just a matter of getting the local match dollars, and then there will be an agreement to be executed among all the local partners with IDOT. Bob, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. It's taking longer than we'd hope. We already have a contract with IDOT and McLean County and Federal Highway, but we needed another one, basically with us and you guys and the locals to figure out all the invoicing and how that was going to work. So we needed that local commitment assurance before we can get our contract going. I think we have that now. The contract process is similar to your 3C planning process, so it's going to take a little time. But we needed that local commitment first before we could start the agreement process. But it appears to be in process, so we're trying to get that up and started right away. And, this one's an interesting one because it's a federal grant, but there's only $100,000 in federal money. I think IDOT's putting in $285,000, locals $285,000. So it's kind of been a learning process for us, but we're trying to get it going.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah. So we're moving along to get the agreement portion out of the way. Yeah. But I appreciate, like IDOT, all the local partners for your contributions. Could not have done it without you all. So, other items, anything people want to?
Ray, I have two quick things.
Yep.
Just my last plug for our fall planning conference is October 2nd through the 4th in Crown Plaza in Springfield. It's free registration. First afternoon is a training workshop on electric vehicles. Next 2 days are agenda items on various modes. So we're looking for a good conference. And the second thing real quick is we just released our safety targets this morning. So those will have to be adopted by this group in the upcoming months. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Okay, hearing none. The next scheduled meeting, October 20th. So same time, 10:30. Yeah. All right, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have a great weekend. That's okay.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Ryan, with the signal changes on gate 4 and 5,